Hello, my friend. One of my fellow patrons asked me if there's a way to automatically hide an object when it's passing behind another object. And I'm like, dude, we are pirates, not magicians. Or are we? After giving it a thought, I have to say, you're not that crazy, man.
Not that crazy.
There's actually a very cool solution. It's not fully automated, but can still be more elegant than having to draw a mask by hand. So you will need a little preparation. There's no way around that. But you know, how can you get something out of nothing? Or in other words, how can you get to the booty if you ain't got no ship? So with that said, let's dive right into it.
Let's bring this further.
Okay, what you see here is our satellite orbiting the Earth. And who guessed what is wrong with this animation?
It should be a pirate ship.
I know. The satellite is not going behind the Earth. Okay, so how can we make the satellite being automatically occluded by the Earth? We can do that using an option that is inside the Merge Channel tab called Perform Depth Merge. That sounds really cool, right? Don't confuse this with deep compositing. It's not deep compositing. So in order to use these options, as you can see here, we need a Z-depth information. But of course, we don't have it because this is a 2D image. And as a wise fella used to say, the problem is the solution itself.
What was that?
So we need to create or fake our own Z-depth information. For that, I bring in a background tool and an ellipse mask. So I will put this in, and now I will match the ellipse to the size of the Earth. Now in this case, it's very, very easy to do because we just have a circular shape. So it's not that big a deal. So for the background, make sure you work in your final bit depth because otherwise the information that we gonna create now will change later. So I've set my gradients so that we sort of have our fake Z information. And now we need to embed this into the Z buffer or to the Z channel. And we do this using a channel boolean. I swoop this in here, hook the background in, and then I say do nothing to the RGB channels and the alpha. Now that's very important because you don't want to mess around with the images. You just want to shift your Z buffer. So in the auxiliary channels, activate the extra channels and choose red foreground into the Z buffer of the background. And now if we check our Z buffer channel, hit normalize button, bang, here we are. Okay, so good so far.
Waitress, bring the rum already, will ya?
Now here I merged the shadow. Let's turn this off for now and move straight to the satellite. So I will view the satellite and I'm going to the point where the satellite is in front of the planet, but sort of like the last frame, maybe this one here. Now in the merge node, I will check perform depth merge, and then I will simply pick the highest point about here. So now you can see that here the satellite is visible, but as soon as it goes behind the planet, it disappears. And whoops, comes out on the other side. And here again. So perfect.
Okay, was it? Everybody out, home.
Now we can do the same thing with the shadow. So let me just activate the shadow here. Here we have the shadow. And now I want to exclude this as well. So the last frame where we see the shadow is here. Perform depth merge, pick, and about here. And gone the shadow is. On the other side, it's also good. Very nice. And I'm going to use the same ellipse mask that I used to create the Z depth to actually limit or restrict the shadow to the planet only. Bang. And that's basically it. Now, of course, you can do this with every Z depth information you get. It doesn't have to be a planet or just a very simple shape. It can be even a complicated shape or a whole 3D scene. You go ahead and try it and show me your result. So if you're interested in this project file and want to know how I created this illustrative look, you can get it on my Patreon page. And by supporting me, you will also be able to join the next giveaway, which will be a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Make sure to also check out my website, confusion.net with a hyphen, for the latest information on any giveaways or some other booty. Okay, so I want to show you another case. And for that, I'm going to switch over to
The fusion.
I'm gonna start off by dropping in a background, and I will set this to a gradient, and then I'll make it a vertical gradient, and I change it to some fancy colors, something like this. Now I'm gonna show you a very cool method that you can use to create your fake Z-depth. And this is also very useful when you wanna put an image into 3D space, when you want to displace it to make it look 3D. Now it depends on your image though. Sometimes this method works perfectly. Another time you need to tweak it a lot and combine it with other masks and backgrounds. But yeah, let me show you. So I bring in a grid warp, and I have to switch the background tool to float 16. Okay, so now I hop over to the grid warp, and I choose selected. And now what I will do is I grab some of those points and drag them up like that. Just like that. Create some waves, maybe, or some hills.
I prefer waves.
Something like this, and maybe these here, and something like that. And if you look at this now, isn't this fantastic? It really looks like a Z-depth. Okay, so what we do now. Now what I want to do is I want to put this into the Z channel. For that, I use a channel boolean, and this time I don't need to change the red, green, blue because I'm going to use the image itself. So I would hop over to the auxiliary channels, called extra channels here in DaVinci Resolve, and I simply check. This time we cannot choose red. Let's just choose, although it doesn't really matter. Let's just choose the lightness. Okay, and now I'm gonna check the Z buffer by pressing Z, and now I'm in trouble because I don't know where the normalize button is.
What? Where's the bloody thing? We're gonna get the bastard.
So if you know where the normalize button is, please comment and let me know. So, but the Z depth is there. I know it's there for a fact. Just trust me. You will see in a moment. So now that I have embedded my Z buffer, what we can do is, I need more space. I'm gonna create a particle emitter and a particle render, and I'm gonna set this to 2D. And for the region, I choose line, and now I'm gonna drag this over here and this over here, and put in a p-directional force to make them fall downwards, something like that. Maybe not this strong. And I will also go to the style and change this to maybe a brush. Let's make them, a brush, and let's take a flake. Of course, we need to increase the size. So I bring up the size here, and maybe a little variation. Oh, I don't like those flakes. Let's take other flakes. Could also take a fish. Oh. What about fish 2? Oh, was it fish 2? Fish 1?
What?
Fish 2?
What?
Fish 3?
What's going on
Hey,
here?
what are all the same fishes?
Same fish.
It's all the same fishes.
Shiver my timbers.
I guess they weren't imported from Fusion standalone yet. Okay, so what about bubble? We have some bubbles here. Bombs. What can we take here? Could make this look like a game. Let's try this. Okay, so I'm gonna reduce the number here, perhaps to 1. So now the bombs are falling down. Yeah, I like those bombs. What I want to do now is I want to do the same depth merge that I did before. Oh, looks like a Space Invader game. I want to use the same method to occlude those bombs that are behind, for example, this hill line here. Okay, so let me see if it works. So I hop over here, and I perform a depth merge. Oh, it's called sample. Let me sample this. Okay. So I pick about here this height, and you can see that actually we need to invert this. That's very simple. We just go into the gradient and just shift those colors over, and bang.
Okay, Captain, but what if we want to keep the gradient?
Now, if you want to invert the Z-depth map, it's actually super simple. All you have to do is in this very same channel boolean, what you do is you change the operation to negative. Of course, then you have to uncheck these or set these to do nothing. And now I can't show you because I don't know where the bloody normalize button is, but now the Z buffer is inverted. And if we go over here and to see where my particles are. So I do a depth merge and then I sample. And then we go back to the background tool and invert our image again. And there you go. We could bring this a little higher. Now we could use the very same image, put this on top, and just sort of fake fog. And I'm going to copy this merge over. And I will copy the whole particle system and put this on top of the merge. And I will randomize or reseed all the things here because I want to have a different result. And now again, let's take care of this later. I will do there they are. Now we just need to choose a different position here, a different depth, I should say. Maybe here. And I merge this and put this on top. This time reduce it a little bit. So we want to do like full depth action here, you know, give the impression that we have a 3D scene. And another one, because we have so much fun here. I'm going to copy these over. And again, simply reseed and reseed. Could also put in a, you know what? Let's put a turbulence in here. P turbulence. Oh, no, actually no, these are bombs. If we would make snowflakes, then yes, or something that is not as heavy as those bombs. And now let's pick a different depth, something like here. And actually, you know what? I think they should be a little bit darker here. So I just bring in a brightness contrast. Now I'm not really now working in float. I should be doing it, but you know, for this simple example, I could do something like this. And because we are having so much fun here, one more. Maybe we should use some birds. Okay, and again, perform a depth. This time we wouldn't need it at all. Let's just turn this off and reseed. A little bit too much. Let's reduce the number here. Let's set it to 0.3, 0.3. With a comma right there. And just for the fun of it, we could use another merge in here. Okay, this drop down here is really horrible here. It's so difficult to choose things. And here, maybe I should deactivate the alpha so that we can get a proper look here. Well, we won't win an award with this, but you see what you can do. I think it's a pretty cool feature because now you can, for example, if you would draw a mask here and you would change your background image, then you would have to change your mask as well. With this here, you can change your image at the beginning and it should, I'm being very careful here, it should work. For example, let's just bring down these hills here and this up, up, up to make it very clear. So this should work. Let me see if I animated this for you. No, it's not animated. So you see, it will cut them off. Not those dark ones; those are in the front. But all the other ones are being cut off in the back. Now this is pretty cool. It's not fully automated like my fellow pirate wished for, but I think it's still pretty close, and it could prove very useful. So you go ahead and use it.
Hey, my name is Vito. I'll see you soon. Until then, enjoy what you're doing.